But then later on I found out that in fact everything was not normal and that he just, for some reason, didn't want to address dental concerns that I had. Hey, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you, and if you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. Welcome to another Invisalign update. Now, if you're not caught up on these, I suggest you do so right here, because otherwise, honestly, I feel like you'd be a little lost and confused, but if you're all caught up, and if you're interested in my journey, then please keep watching. So in the last update, I spoke to you about elastics that I now wear along with my aligners, and it is now the 25th of November, which means that I have been wearing these elastics for about a month and some change, and I want to mention that experience a little bit first of all. So like I said in the last update, the elastics are really no big deal. Honestly, most of the time I don't really feel them in my mouth, and I can pretty much do anything with my mouth. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. At the same capacity as when I do not have any elastics in. Now obviously you're not really allowed to eat anything with these on, but you wouldn't be doing so anyway because I have my elastics on at the same time that I have my aligners in, so that wouldn't really be an issue. But I also avoid drinking sugary drinks while these are in my mouth, just because I really don't want them getting nasty. And even though I do switch out for a new fresh pair of elastics every 24 hours, I just try and avoid that as much as possible. However, one thing that I did not mention in my last update, and honestly it's because I hadn't really noticed it, because at that point it really wasn't that much of a consistent pattern, so I couldn't clock it properly. But now that I've been wearing these for a while, I was able to tell exactly what's going on, and I want to tell you. So basically, I don't feel any kind of a tension with these in, nor do I feel any kind of pain. However, whenever I switch to a new set of aligners, the night of, and maybe the next day, although I wouldn't say that it lasts the whole next day, maybe like half of the next day, something happens, and I don't know what, I don't have a name for it. I'm also not a dentist at all, but anyway, something happens to where the elastics rub the inside of my cheek raw a little bit. Maybe that's a bit dramatic. They don't really rub it raw. However, there is some chafing on the inside of my cheek during that time. It's not painful, it's just a little bit uncomfortable. It sounds worse than it really is. And for the most part, if you're doing anything during your day, you really don't have time to notice it. It's not that type of hindrance, much less pain, that you live with. Like, it's something that you can completely put in the back of your mind if you're like working, talking to somebody, having fun, or if your mind is preoccupied in any way, which obviously all of our minds are for the most part. So it's not super difficult, but it is something that I do notice, and it is slightly uncomfortable, but thankfully it does not last long. Literally the night that I change my aligners and maybe the next morning, it's a little uncomfortable, it chafes a little bit more, but then after that, for whatever reason, it just stops, and it's not that big of a deal. Otherwise, when it comes to the elastics, everything is fine, and I am pretty much used to wearing them at this point as well, so all is good. Now I want to move on from that and talk about my little lazy tooth. So if you watched the last update, you know that one of my bottom teeth is kind of being lazy and is not progressing as it should, and that's based on the dental plan that I'm currently on for my aligners. So by this point, it should have been in a better position than it is right now. However, it's not that bad. It has progressed since last time, okay? It's definitely still being a little lazy. The tooth is still behind. It still hasn't caught up to where it needs to be, but there definitely has been some progress that I have noticed and tracked just by observing my teeth in the mirror, pictures, and in videos. So basically, we're still not where we need to be. However, we are getting there, and I hope that we do get there soon enough, because funnily enough, that's the only tooth that isn't where it needs to be at this point. Okay, so moving on to my next orthodontist appointment. The last time that I saw you, I had just had one, and since then I haven't had an appointment at all. However, I do have one scheduled for the beginning of January, and let me tell you a little bit about what's supposed to happen during that appointment as far as I know. So they told me that at that appointment I'm gonna be fitted for a new set of aligners that would make it my third set. Now originally I was told that I probably wouldn't need 3 sets, but here we are, and I actually do need it. Personally, I don't mind that at all, and I feel like what I'm about to say is something that I say in literally every single video, and I keep repeating it just because I can't believe that it's true. I wouldn't expect for this journey to be as seamless as it was for me, for the most part, I was expecting this journey to be much more of a hindrance, and I was expecting to be in way more pain and be more uncomfortable than I literally ever was. And so the fact that I'm gonna need an additional set when they initially said that I'm probably not gonna need it literally does not bother me at all. It really wouldn't even bother me if they said I needed another additional set, because honestly, Invisalign has been pretty easy for me, and at this point I'm so used to working with my aligners that it's really not a big deal. But I'm saying all of this to say that maybe if you're on this journey as well and they give you sort of an end date in the beginning, try not to be disappointed if that doesn't work out exactly how they told you to. Obviously, in the beginning, they even told me whatever they're saying is subject to change, because they really can't know for certain how your teeth are gonna react and shift and move. They obviously do have a certain idea and there is a plan, but it's not 100% foolproof. So try not to take it as such. Otherwise, I feel like you might be a little disappointed. At this specific point though, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do another whole set, which would include another 20 aligners. The last time I was there, they told me that this is something that they're gonna have to decide when the time comes and when I actually get my scan done for this set, which again will be in January, so that's really when they're gonna be able to tell. But I am curious to find out how long I'm actually gonna have to wear the elastics for. Again, at this point, I'm assuming that I'm gonna be wearing them until the end of my Invisalign journey, but I don't know that for sure, so that's something that I'm gonna have to see as well. Now, before I sign off, I also want to talk about my dental plans, shall we say, after finishing however many sets of Invisalign that I'm gonna have, because I've spoken to both my dentist and my orthodontist, and we already kind of have a plan loosely formed, and so I just want to touch on that a little bit. So, a long story, really long story short, is that one of my front teeth is actually a full crown, because I chipped off like 3/4 of my tooth when I was young, and at that point they gave me a partial crown, and then about 7 or 8 years ago they switched that out for a full crown. Now because of that, that specific tooth did not move. It stayed exactly where it was the whole time, and all of the other teeth did move, and the tooth next to it obviously shifted and dropped, so it is now a little bit longer than the crown. You can't really tell when watching my videos. I'd have to get really up close and personal for you to be able to tell, and I'm gonna spare you, okay? But it is something that is noticeable in real life, and since I'm trying to achieve my perfect smile, I'm calling it that because I don't want to say the perfect smile, because I don't even know if such a thing exists. I want to achieve my perfect smile, so this is something that we're gonna have to correct after I finish my whole Invisalign journey. And we've decided that we're not gonna shave down the now longer tooth, but that we're gonna switch out my crown and I'm gonna have a new crown done. I am happy with this decision because just based on appearances and aesthetic, I like the look of the now longer tooth more. It feels like it's more in line with all of the other teeth. So getting a new longer crown to match seems like the right fit. However, I am a little apprehensive about this. I don't want to say scared because I'm not really scared. I know that everything's going to be fine, and I don't generally have a fear of the dentist that much. But again, to make a really long story short here, and I will tell you the details if you care at some other point in the future, but my old dentist, the old person that I was trusting to take care of my teeth before I got this new amazing dentist, had basically messed up, and the crown is not even in the right place where it's supposed to be. And also pre my Invisalign journey, when I was at the dentist for a checkup, I had a lot of issues with the crown, and I also had a lot of issues with my other teeth in general, even though I was literally going to my old dentist completely regularly for very regular checkups, and every time I was there, he'd pretty much tell me that, oh, everything's normal. But then later on, I found out that in fact, everything was not normal, and that he just, for some reason, didn't want to address dental concerns that I had, and he never fixed them. So me and my new dentist had a hell of an introduction, and we had to get a lot of problems sorted before I actually started on my aligner journey. So that's why I'm a little scared about getting a new crown, because I just want it done right this time. And honestly, that's not at all saying that I doubt my current dental professionals. I'm just saying that because I had such a bad experience in the past, and I didn't even really realize it then, I realized it later in the future. That's why I am a little apprehensive, but I don't think that the same thing is gonna happen again. So I am actually happy that they're gonna take his crown out, because I love making space for new and better things. things, okay? And that's what I hope that this is gonna be. I'm also excited at the fact that they're gonna be doing a new crown because I'm actually gonna be able to get my teeth whitened for literally the first time ever, well, professionally at least. We're not counting the whitening strips that we all use at home. And that's a very exciting prospect to me because I did always want slightly whiter teeth. Now, I'm not chasing that Hollywood unrealistic white, but I would like to whiten my teeth a little bit, and I'm glad that I'm gonna be actually able to have that choice now that they're switching everything out. But obviously I can't predict the future, so I don't know how exactly that whole journey is gonna look like. I am gonna update you on all of that later on as well, but I wanted to mention it here now so that you kind of get a general idea of what's in store. But yeah, that's all I have for you for today's update. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, you are, let's see, you are a beautiful, beautiful Christmas tree. Is that too early to say? Because it's not even December technically. But I mean, low-key, we've all started decorating for the holidays. Am I right? So yeah, I'm actually sticking to my guts. You are a beautiful decorated Christmas tree if you made it this far. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.